Alright, so yeah, let's talk about a band that not only changed the scene with their transcendent masterpiece in 2015, but is also one of my favorite bands to listen to while enjoying some legal medicinal herb.
Wow, man. That's some heavy man.
Side note, do you guys know kids used to mosh at Oasis shows back in the day? When I first saw this live video, I was like, what the sh**? How do you mosh to this? It was softer than punk, and yet harder than pop.
Now why the f*** am I telling you this?
Well, I think it's fascinating, actually. Kids were moshing in the 90s to a sound that most of us today would think, why are they getting rowdy for this? Let's look back though. Almost 10 years ago, Turnover emerged with Peripheral Vision, evoking a dreamy sound that, by traditional scene standards, wouldn't get the crowd moving, right? Before we get into it though, let me ask you a question.
Don't you want to be cool?
Now you can! By subscribing to the channel! Like, comment, share, check out my other shit, and you're well on your way to achieving the Neutron style.
Sometimes I feel like people don't take us as seriously because we haven't, we're younger. But then again, sometimes people say like these kids are really young, they haven't been doing it that long, and for what we've accomplished, we're pretty proud of it. So you gotta take the good with the bad, I guess.
Turnover's tenure is a really interesting case of a band that pretty drastically changed their entire sound, and yet with that change found not only success, but critical acclaim. From their inception as an emo pop-punk band playing shows on the East Coast, to tours with the likes of Citizen, Have Mercy, Light Years, and Major League, to doing interviews with Billboard and recording Audio Tree live sessions by 2016. Obviously, they didn't start out like that, right? So,
say
rule of threes.
again. Say
Rule of threes.
again. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say
Rule of threes.
one more time.
Rule 3. It's an exact science, consistent as gravity.
Yes, sir. I see three factors that ignited Turnover's evolutionary success: their roots in the scene, venture, and timing.
You pull it shit.
Bacon and the sparrows, buddy. It's all about the bacon and the sparrows.
What in the f*** are you talking
Give me a
about?
second, yeah.
When I say bacon and sparrows, I'm talking emo and pop punk. You see, Turnover first got their start in 2009, playing a sound entirely different from what we now know them for. A sound akin to other big emo bands of the early 2010s, like Citizen, Balance and Composure, Tiger's Jaw, Tiny Moving Parts, and
You blew it!
their shows from the early 2010s reflect the roots in the punk scene better than I could possibly describe. It's wild because I, and I'm guessing a lot of you out there, found out about Turnover long after their self-titled EP in 2011. But listening back to it now, it's good. Damn good.
Those days are gone, but memories won't fade. I still remember every second in my head like yesterday.
Hey, you know what they say. You can take the kid out of the scene, but you can't take the scene out of the kid. At least I say that.
Boo! You stink!
They followed it up with Magnolia in 2013, and this is where you can really hear the beginnings of a new, more refined sound. The yearning to venture out and try something different.
Most of the time, I'm hopelessly lost. Most of the time, I'm between the cracks.
Touring-wise, they stayed to their roots and spent 2012 to 2014 touring with adjacent bands. They even had a tour with I Am the Avalanche, who I now love, but I'm pissed because I didn't know them back in 2014, because that would have been a fun tour to go to. By the way, Turnover never once played Warped Tour. I had no idea. Like, in retrospect, it really surprises me, especially by 2015. But, as fate would have it, they'd been working on something extra special. Which brings us to number 2, Venture.
I want to make love to you right now. I have to make love to you right now.
Relax. Come on,
on, loosen up, experiment!
I already did.
Turnover recorded Peripheral Vision in the fall of 2014 at Studio 4 in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, alongside producer Will Yip, which if that name sounds familiar, it's because he's got credit with the likes of Title Fight, The Wonder Years, Panic at the Disco, The Fray, and even Lauryn Hill. Will had produced Magnolia as well, which provided us a taste of the direction they might go, but nobody, not even the band itself, anticipated the shift in sound to come. I think most fans expected like a more supercharged version of what they heard in Magnolia, but what we got was something completely different. Something dreamy.
Yes.
Let me know your secret, tell me how you color all the empty space.
Quite the change up from what we just heard, right? And what's funny is they never planned on making an album like this, with this atmospheric, dream pop, shoegazy sound that makes you feel all types of ways. The real answer to the change is simple: the super ego pedal. As quoted by bassist Danny Dempsey, "Are you talking about the humming throughout the record? The pulsating thing? That's a pedal called a super ego that we bought for our first full length. We didn't utilize it a lot then, but on the new record we use it a lot. It'll sustain any note you hit so you can build 5 chords on top of each other and build a layer underneath the song. I think it made everything sound a lot bigger than it really is." Ah, bigger, you hear that? Reminds me of another band who used the overdrive pedal to create a bigger sound.
Backbeat, beat, 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 beat.
Austin Getz also mentioned that around this time, he was listening to a lot of music from the late 70s, early 80s, so it's safe to say that what he was immersing himself with, music-wise, definitely influenced the sound of Peripheral Vision.
We've always been a group of people that listen to an eclectic group of music, which I always think makes for a better band. You know, I mean, if there's a group of people and they only listen to one genre of music, they're going to put out that genre of music.
For sure.
You put out what you put into yourself. So I think that's really cool.
After we tour with any band, I feel like we always take some kind of influence from whether it's their music or bands that they just showed us
Right.
on the road, or just even meeting people. Like we always take a lot of influence after a tour.
See, when I say venture, what I'm really referring to is the idea of experimentation with balls, or experimentation with a spine. You know, going into that recording session, the writing process, whatever, but with the confidence to unabashedly take your creative endeavors where you want them to go. Not being afraid of just grabbing your art by the balls and saying, "I'm gonna try this new thing out, f*** it," and just let the ideas come to life. The best part is, you never know. That experiment could end up being the best thing to ever happen to you, and may lead you to new realms of opportunity which you never thought you'd be a part of. But here you are, doing the thing. Finally brings us to 3 for 3 before I wrap this bad boy up, and this is perhaps the simplest of ingredients to the magic here: timing. Mother Nature, Father Time, the most unforgiving and yet most extraordinary parents we'll ever have in life. I think one of the hardest truths to accept for both artists and fans alike is that people change over time, for better or for worse, depending on how you look at it. In the context of music, we can't expect every artist we love to forever continue playing the same style they've played in the past. It's not reality. I mean, it can be depending on the band, but over time, ultimately, you want some variety. It's a spice of life. It's the same reason why Turnover went on tour with a band like the Technicolors, more of an indie pop rock band, and it just so happened to influence a lot of Peripheral Vision.
Like after this, we wrote Peripheral Vision after we toured for like 3 months straight, and we met a lot of people on that tour, and like they showed us a lot of different music, so I think it definitely influenced the record.
Yeah.
They also didn't want to be pigeonholed in the same genre forever, which again is a natural reaction over time. I know it was that way for me, relatively speaking, back when I did Claymation on this channel. I just wanted to change. That change happened to yield far better results than any Claymation I did, and I really enjoyed making it. It gave me a whole new direction of where to take things on the channel. Think about yourself as a music fan and how your taste has changed over time. And guess what? It's gonna change again. Probably when you least expect it. Fans in 2015 were yearning for something different. Like how crabcore, like scene metalcore was the big thing in the late 2000s, early 2010s. By 2015, that style had started dying down and that big thing was missing. We needed a band, a melody, a sound that had shifted the scene to new heights. That's something I believe was Peripheral Vision. It broke the mold in a time of need, showing that an emo pop-punk band not only has the capability to drastically alter their sound into something totally different, but have that something come to be the best decision they ever made, garnering acclaim from hardcore fans and mainstream outlets alike. It also happened to coincide with the influx of darker, more grunge-based artists who got bigger after 2015. Bands like Basement, Can't Swim, and Movements. Overall, I think it's a perfect album, to be honest, and it exemplifies so much more than just some experimental record. I mean, life's a weird fucking game, man. You have a vision, like things are gonna go in a straight line right where you want it to be. But the truth is, sometimes the unexpected happens, and it's the best thing that could have possibly happened to you. Be open to your new ideas, and no matter what, persevere.
Do it!
Woo! That was a big one. If you're still watching, I just want you to know I love you, and also want to shout out the folks in tenmonthsummer. They're an awesome band, directly influenced by Turnover and Peripheral Vision, so definitely check them out if you want to hear more of that sweet, dreamy sound. Got a podcast interview type thing coming out next month too, so more to come on that. But until the next vid, I will catch y'all later.